Welcome to Morning Journal. I'm your host, Jared. From here forward, you can just refer to me as G to keep it simple. But I wanted to say my name one time, at least for those who want to know how to say it when they see it somewhere. But this is session number 395. We're here live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. It's not 9 a.m. It is 6 a.m. So we're here Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. live on Instagram, perhaps more platforms to follow. So if you want to get up and get your mind working, get your maybe have a mindful and thoughtful, introspective beginning to your morning, that might be useful in helping you to move out into your day with more purpose and clarity. Maybe not every time, but sometimes that's the thing about a practice, that the practice doesn't always yield exactly the same results that you expect, but it's over time and with the consistency that you start to gradually find yourself in a better place. So if this is your first time listening to this on a playback and you think you might want to join us live, catch us on Instagram, meet some of the other folks in the community, and see if that experience is something that is valuable for you, and to help give you a reason to kind of get up and get going and get your day rolling. We're going to start this session as we do a lot of times we will start with gratitude, think about things that we are grateful for. It's the beginning of a week as we are recording right now, or as we're streaming right now. Perhaps there was something that you saw this weekend, you did this weekend, as maybe you had a chance to slow down a little bit and take a break. Maybe that gave you an opportunity to notice some things that perhaps you wouldn't have noticed in your everyday grind. Or maybe you can just look around you. Maybe there's something in front of you right now that is sparking a sense of gratitude. However the case may be, just take a couple moments now to think about what you might be grateful for as you begin the session. I'll choose to acknowledge gratitude for being fully awake and fully, not in some cosmic or metaphysical sense, just in the everyday sense of being far enough from sleep that I don't still feel the impact of it. You know, sometimes it takes a while before your body is and mind are online, but I'm grateful for feeling fully awake at this hour and ready to face what is on the agenda for me today. That's a good place to be in. Because until you get to that place, there is always the lure of, let me lay back down for a few minutes. So getting over that hump and feeling like you are into the groove of the day is a good feeling. There are a lot of things that I use to get there. Sometimes, often it is caffeine that I have some coffee in the morning, have a little water in the morning, maybe do a little exercise, do some movement. Some of those things might help you feel like, okay, here's the day and let's do it. But in order to do those things, in order to have the space to arrive at your destination for the day, if you're going to work or school or whatever the case may be, it might require you to get up a little bit earlier, to give yourself time so that when you get where you're going, you are already ready to engage. It can be a drag sometimes to have to work yourself into being ready to work. So took advantage of the early morning hours, and here I am. T. Mizzle is grateful for language. I love that there are many ways to communicate, and not everyone speaks the same language. So that makes for a rich interpersonal experience, because even if people speak nominally they speak the same general language, everyone sort of has their ways of getting things across. And one of the, I guess, is both a challenge and an opportunity in a relationship with another person, whether it's a professional one, whether it's a interpersonal one, whatever the case may be, is to get to the place where you understand each other's language. Sometimes it takes a very long time to get there. Sometimes you never really feel like you get there, but being able to understand someone and to have a pretty good idea that what they are trying to convey is what you're receiving, and vice versa. So language, whether it's English or it's Python, is something to be grateful for sure. One of our prompts for today that I want to get into. Once again, thanks for taking a few moments to express your gratitude. Now, let's take a look at finding words, because we're talking about how we communicate with ourselves. Speaking of language and communication, we're talking about things that we can say about ourselves. So, what three words describe me at my best? When I'm at my best, what are three words that would describe me? Understanding that we're not always at our best, but I think it's useful to remember what we're capable of when we are at our best. So think about three words that describe you at your best. I think it's a very realistic and it's a realistic and attainable thing to look to versions of yourself as something to aspire to, because at least you know that is possible because it's already proven. It might not be easy to get there, and I know when I look back over my life and in my experience, there are times when I don't recognize the person that I was. But then, as you start moving and as you start looking in that direction, and as that muscle memory kicks in once you get into action, you might find yourself more aligned with that possibility. So, thinking about three words that describe you at your best. So, we have a response here. At my best, I am consistent, healthy, and flexible. Consistent, healthy, and flexible. So these are very rich concepts. The concept of flexibility can refer to physical flexibility, and also, of course, psychological and emotional flexibility. Being able to adjust to what comes in front of you, and being able to stay in a healthy place even when the unexpected happens. So for Kaloli, at my best, I am calm, confident, and decisive. These are great things to remind ourselves of, right? If you are in a space, if you have a sticky note that you can hang up in your work area, or something that you can put on the cover of a notebook or a journal, or wherever you look, sometimes we need to remind ourselves of who we are at our best. We need those reminders. All right. So we're going to imagine or hold in the mind those attributes that you've claimed for yourself, that you recognize in yourself as the way you are when you're at your best. And in the next prompts, we're going to think about how we can apply our best selves. If I could be excellent at one thing, what would it be? If I could be excellent at one thing, what would it be? Now, maybe you're already excellent at something. What is that thing? Or if there's a level of excellence that you've achieved that you know there is a step beyond, what is that thing? Sometimes our excellence can be expressed through our professional lives. Sometimes excellence can be expressed through our within our family, within our relationships. And then sometimes the excellence is just expressed in something that we enjoy doing, a craft or a hobby or something that lights you up or gives you joy just because. It doesn't have to, the excellence doesn't have to be validated by anyone else. Excellence has its own reward. Now, yes, sometimes there could be something that comes from being excellent if something that you excel at also matches up with other people's needs. But the joy of engaging in something that you've mastered is its own reward. So for T Mizzle, the response is, I want to be excellent at one thing. One thing was in the prompt, but we'll still read it, even though there's more than one thing here. Looking and feeling fit all the time, or making music, which I've never done. I'd like to see that. So those are attainable things. And I guess if you have more than one, the thing is, start on one. And then once you become the type of person, once you become the type of person that can excel, then that's an attitude or there's an approach that goes along with that you can apply to other things. So if you have more than one, if the one thing is a little bit too hard to narrow down, of course, have as many as you want, but realize that you have to decide what you're going to do first. There are sacrifices that go along with excellence. We underestimate how hard it is to be really good. And part of the reason why we do that is because people who are really good make things look easy. So it's easy to underestimate what it really takes. So I'd like to be excellent at managing stressful situations. Is a good response. Absolutely. That is a super valuable. That's a super valuable skill because when everyone else is freaking out and you can be calm and you can be all those things that you were saying, calm, confident, and decisive in stressful situations, then that makes you a leader. That sets you apart. So that sort of interpersonal, emotionally intelligent way of being in a space, seeing through the clutter, seeing through all the things that are going on and being able to make a decision. So for our last prompt, what must I learn to get where I want to go? What must I learn to get where I want to go? So sometimes it's very hard to summon the motivation when we don't have any clarity. It's hard to put your energy behind on a path that is unclear. You don't have to know how to get every step of the process down, but it's useful. It's useful to at least know what the next step is. Think about, okay, between where I am right now and where I'm trying to go, what's one thing that you need to learn? I know broadly speaking, there might be a lot of things, but as we are here right now, getting a clear picture of what you need to learn to begin with is a great way to get started. Now, naturally, most of the learning is going to happen while you're doing it. And sometimes we get caught feeling like we need to know in advance how the thing is going to work before we're willing to start. The learning is going to happen while you're doing it. But have an idea, let's get an idea of what you need to learn. And The best way to learn is to sort of design a project that will force you to learn it. So if there's a skill you want to, one of the things was somebody shared was making music. Okay, I want to learn how to make music. All right. So one thing I need to learn is some instrument or how some instrument works or some software. So let me learn that. Let me download it or let me get it and let just start using it. What project can I start that will facilitate this learning? Because it's almost impossible to just memorize, to remember abstractly all the skills. So if you have your excellence goal is to be able to manage stressful situations, guess what? Got to put yourself in some stressful situations and then reflect on what happened. Because I think a lot of times in things like that, with things like that, the learning is becoming familiar with what it feels like and not panicking. You just got to get familiar with the sensation that the stress brings on and be able to sit with it. So let's do a quick recap. We're coming down to the end of the session today. Thank you so much, everyone, for stopping through and sharing your responses. We started with gratitude, and then we started looking at versions of ourselves and the potential that lies in those versions of ourselves. So 3 words that describe you, that you would use to describe you at your best. These are the tools that you have. How can you apply those tools to become excellent? And then finally, what must you learn? What are some of the gaps that you can identify? What are some of the opportunities for growth that you currently recognize? And once you identify that, how can you put yourself in a situation to facilitate learning it? All right. And that's been session number 395. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks for listening. Once again, we're live Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. You can catch us on Instagram for now, perhaps more platforms to come. But if you feel like this would be a great experience for you to start your day with, we would love to see you here. And I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.